feel like Batman. Good morning, everybody. How many of you skated in this room before? Yeah, I used to do. Oh yeah, we used to do our roller skating in here. I remember the moonlight skate, St. Mary's. We used to do our fundraisers here. Now, for those of you who are used to our town hall meetings, you know how I like to do them. I want to go through a PowerPoint presentation. Let's talk about the issue that I think most people have on their minds. That's the economy, jobs. And then I'll open it up and talk about whatever you want to talk about. The only ground rule I ask is, since I'm your federal representative, let's talk about federal issues. I have nothing to do with trash collection, your property taxes, or those issues. So let's stick with federal issues. The second thing is, we are all Wisconsinites. That means we treat each other with respect. If we don't agree with each other, we have a respectful debate. And so let's just make sure that we use decorum when dealing with one another, okay? Sound like a plan? Great. All right. What is holding our economy back? Can everybody see that all right? Are these lights? Should we maybe turn these lights off right here? Is that a chance? I don't know if that's possible or not. The ones that are shining on the thing, yeah, that probably makes it look a little bit better. What's holding our economy back? And can we get back on track? Well, where are we right now? The Wisconsin unemployment rate is 7.8%. The national is 9.1%. That's kind of a misleading statistic for us. A couple of reasons. The southern Wisconsin unemployment rate is higher than the national average. Janesville, Racine, Kenosha, our areas have more joblessness than the rest of the state and the country. The rate that I look at is what they call the U6 rate. Who is out of work and looking for work? Who is out of work and stopped looking for work? Who is working? That's great. Thank you so much, Rodney. Who is working temporary jobs but want a full-time job? That rate is the highest we've seen in years, 16.5%. 6 million Americans have been out of work for over 6 months. Our economy has been stagnant. The first half of this year, it's growing at 1.3%. Poverty rate is up to 15.1%. To start adding jobs back to the economy, you really got to get your economy growing up past 3%. We had to create 250,000 jobs a month in this country for 5 years running just to get back to where the unemployment rate was before the recession started. I would say there are basically two big headwinds that are hurting our economy right now that are slowing it down. One is not necessarily in our control. That's Europe. Now, you read about Europe a lot. You hear they have a new agreement. Why is Europe in the throes of a debt crisis? Why is Europe matter to us? Well, a couple of things. Number one, their debt is really large. The debt in Europe, Spain, Portugal, Ireland, Italy, Greece is way up there. Their debts are all at or above 100% of their economy. I mean, they borrowed and they owe more than they produce in an entire year of economic output of their countries. Our debt, within a few days, will hit the size of our economy. Our total gross debt, and that's the number that they all look at, will hit that as well. So we're just as bad off. Now, look at where we're headed. Our debt, this is the Congressional Budget Office that shows our debt is already at levels we haven't seen since World War II, but it's more importantly on a trajectory to get out of control, to literally get to double, triple, 8 times the size of our entire economy. And that's the current path we're on right now. That's what the laws we have in the books, the spending commitments we have right now. Why is Europe in such a path like this right now, where they're having an economic meltdown? They're in the midst of a scramble to try and prevent a recession. I would say it's basically because politicians in Europe, from all political parties, made a lot of empty promises to their citizens that the government simply cannot keep. They've borrowed way beyond their means, and now the toxic asset in Europe is debt. Remember when our housing market went down, when we had these housing assets, these mortgage-backed securities, we had toxic assets on the books of American banks, which brought down our economy? Well, the new toxic asset is government debt. And that government debt is threatening to take down the European banking system, the European economy. And since they're our second largest trading partner, that really affects us as well. So it's a global economy, and this affects us. But the point is, government debt has gotten so out of control that it is threatening the economy of the industrialized world. So the second headwind, I would say, is government. I think Washington is making matters worse in so many different ways. And let me just go through a few of them. The first idea to try and get the economy growing after the recession was stimulus spending, which is where we go out and borrow $862 billion and spend it on various different government programs. The idea of the stimulus was that it would create millions of new jobs, keep unemployment from getting above 8%. The bulk of the spending was basically on government agencies. We had a basic 23% increase in government bureaucracy budgets in the budget that was passed, and then the stimulus brought that increase to 84% increase for government agency budgets. The budget that we are living under now, which passed in 2009, calls for spending $46 trillion of government spending over the next 10 years. That adds about $9.5 trillion to our national debt. Here's what the stimulus was supposed to do. This is the chart that the administration put out saying if they pass the stimulus with the borrowing and the spending and all this increase in government agency spending, it would keep unemployment from getting above 8%. Otherwise, they thought it would go up to about 9%. What happened after it passed is unemployment went up to 10%, and basically we from 2008 through now, we have been above 9% in perpetuity. So this kind of economic reform didn't work. Borrowing 42 cents of every dollar, which is what the government does today, is not working. Second, we have enormous amounts of tax uncertainty. This is a big point. When I've toured more than a couple hundred businesses in southern Wisconsin, going around to entrepreneurs and businesses, big and small, asking them, what is it that's holding you back? What is it that's making it hard for you to expand to hire people? The number one thing that comes out of that business leader's mouth is tax uncertainty. In 2013, in about 14 months, across-the-board tax hikes are on the horizon. The top federal effective tax rate goes to 44.8%. When you throw your Wisconsin income taxes on that, that goes higher. You throw the proposed surtax that is in the Senate that the president has endorsed, that top surtax goes to 50%. Now, why does it matter that the top individual income tax rate goes up to 50%? You sort of think that that's just going to hit people like, Brett Favre or a movie star or a Wall Street hedge fund guy. Here's the deal. Most of our businesses file their taxes as individuals, not as corporations. 90% of Wisconsin businesses, 9 out of 10 of our businesses, go to the industrial park, 9 out of 10 of them file their taxes as individuals. We call them pass-throughs or subchapter S corporations or partnerships or LLCs. Only 10% of our companies file as corporations. Those are the big ones. Those are the GMs. Those are the Harley-Davidsons, the Johnson Controls, the S.C. Johnson wax companies. Just about every other business files as an individual. And when we are raising the tax rates on these businesses, not every one is making a lot of money, but the ones where most of our jobs come from get hit by these taxes. 50% of small business income will get hit by these new increase in taxes. So we're going to take a tax system and put us at 50% on this part of our economy that produces 9 out of our 10 of our businesses. The other problem is our foreign competitors. Canada, starting in January, is lowering the tax on all of their businesses to 15%. China taxes their businesses at 25%. England's lowering theirs to 22%. And we are telling our successful small businesses in 14 months, yours is going up to 44.8%, and maybe it will go up to 50%. It's all of this tax uncertainty that makes it harder for businesses to plan. The other dose of uncertainty is coming from regulations. There is a huge regulatory onslaught coming from Washington these days. The total cost of federal regulations is estimated to be about $1.75 trillion a year. It's a hidden tax that costs the economy. That's out of about a $15 trillion economy. Well, in 2009 and 2010, Congress passed a lot of laws, a lot of thousand-page, multi-thousand-page laws. And so now all these regulations are coming forward from those law passages. 3,573 new regulations came out in 2010. 4,257 new regulations are in the works for this year. This year, 219 of those planned regulations are estimated to impact the economy by at least $100 million, each one of them. One of them is estimated to put 20% of our concrete factories, our ready-mix concrete plants, out of business. That means we're shrinking our ready-mix concrete factories. We have to import concrete. We have to raise the price of concrete. Concrete is something that goes into just about everything. It goes into all the things we build. It goes into all of our roads. We produce a lot of jobs in Wisconsin, making concrete, pouring concrete, using concrete. That's just one example of all of this uncertainty that is now plaguing businesses. The new healthcare law has lots of businesses guessing and wondering what will its effects be. There are 159 new boards, bureaucracies, and programs that are being implemented over its 4-year implementation period. This year, the government gave over 1,400 waivers to certain businesses out of all of America, 1,400 certain businesses, because the new requirements are so onerous that they just gave them a waiver from having to do it. But all the other businesses in America that didn't get on the list of the 1,400 have to implement these very, very burdensome and costly regulations. The new spending.